Wow, hello. Thank you for coming to this talk. We're really excited about this conversation. I'm Jessica Orozco. I am the SVP of Global Sales for Platform.sh. And I have an incredible panel here to have today's discussion. I want to introduce the topic of what is FleetOps and why should you care? FleetOps is operating multiple websites or web applications. There's a lot of challenges in doing that. I'm sure many of you already are challenged with that. And there's certain ways that you can solve for that. And one of them is by moving applications over to a standardized platform, one of them being Platform.sh. And so that's what our talk is today about. What are the challenges with managing applications and some of the solutions, and then we'll end with some advice and then Q&A. So let's get started with some introductions. So I'll start with Pierre-Emmanuel, and then we go from there.
Hi, I'm Pierre-Emmanuel Muniza. I'm French. I'm working in a company named Armani Mutual. It's a health insurance company. 5,000 people. At the IT, we are 400 people. I am a manager of 25 engineer and project manager. We integrate a new solution, new apps. But I'm an ops. I'm not a dev. I'm 45 years old. 5 years of consulting in IT production organization. 10 years in a bank, and now 7 years in an insurance company.
Great. Dennis?
Thank you. My name is Dennis. I flew here from Australia somehow. I'm a lead developer. It says practice lead at an agency called Hide and Seek Digital in Australia. And we do a lot of federal government and state government clients, so a lot of regulation, a lot of red tape. And also branching out to a lot of private enterprise and cloud architecture, expertise, and working with a few multinational companies, helping them with load balancing, cybersecurity, and things like that. And
great. Thank you.
Hi everybody. My name is Jeroen. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm the CTO co-founder of Alles QI, which is a B2B SaaS company. We have a quality management solution for manufacturing companies, and it's used by around a bit over 100 factories around the world. A bit about me personally. I co-founded this company in college in 2002. Then in 2004 started this company. Took it very, very slowly, 9 to 5, etc. But then in the last 3.5, 4 years, we grew from 2 people to 80 now. So scaling up quite quickly now. I'm 40, have 2 kids, play guitar and drums, and I love video games.
Who doesn't, right? So we'll start with the first question. So let's talk about the challenge, right? There's a lot of challenge when you have to manage a lot of multiple applications, and you're also managing a lot of developers. So we'll start with Jürgen, and then we'll go from there.
Yep. So for us, the challenge, we grew from making custom web apps in PHP on a shared web hosting platform, used the same platform to also host this application, went from 2 to 5 to 10 to eventually 50 tenants. All single tenant deploys, so we had to deploy the same software 50 times. The infrastructure was not versioned, and we couldn't even automate the configuration of the environments. So this one time I had to change PHP versions 50 times through the web UI. That clearly wasn't going to scale. And then there are other problems like having staging environments, which just was totally messy, especially because the actual technical environment needed to be the same between different versions of the app. So we couldn't, for example, try a new version of PHP because it was also affect production. Just very messy and also very time-consuming for me, where we were scaling the company and the dev team as well. I needed time to onboard and coach developers and, of course, focus on the actual product, which is our main selling point, not the way we run ops. So oh, and then there was also the impetus of a multi-region, which our previous hosting company just didn't support at all. It was just Benelux, and sales had a lead in the US, but they had the requirements of having the processing and data storage in the US, and we simply couldn't support it. So that led to the search to something better.
Yeah, very familiar problems. And in the agency land, hide and seek, the success is determined by like ability to onboard more and more clients. So the executive team keeps pitching, we keep winning more contracts, the contracts keep expiring, we keep inheriting more contracts. But what is happening is we inherit the infrastructure, we inherit the ecosystem. A lot of the time we inherit a really ancient legacy 15-year-old ecosystem with Drupal 7, you can have some Microsoft drivers there that have expired, and a lot of the time we deal with custom CI/CD tools, a lot of older, not exactly the right way of doing things, and a lot of legacy, and we grow these. So when we inherit one client, we inherit their existing maybe 15 years of technical debt as well. Mm. And as we grow, because we want to grow, for me, like as like a developer who is looking after more developers, I have to also absorb this technology, make sure it doesn't break, look after it, scan it, vulnerability scanning, update it, and then also handle bugs. And as it grows, it becomes extremely, it can become very stressful, especially if it's unstable and there's just too many clients to manage.
Yeah.
In our company, we wanted to fight against what we name shadow IT in the big IT department that I am working in, and it means that communication, marketing, human resource, they can decide to for a request for a website to contract with an agency and finally hosting and having this website outside not under our control. So the big boss decided that we have to change this to have a look on all the websites that are coming in the society, in our company. So it starts with this need, and then we wanted also to make sure that the security level on the SLA will be okay. Mm-hmm. That's why we wanted to standardize hosting and also software. So we choose Platform.sh and Drupal for this, to improve our control of the system.
Yeah. A lot of the governance, factor is a big thing when talking FleetOps. So now that you're managing these applications in a FleetOps way, let's talk about what the world looks like today. So what was the solution that you put in place? And now that you have this new solution, how is it different in the way that you manage these applications?
Yeah, thanks. So we now have a single code base, majestic monolith, yay. But we deploy to 6 different projects, and only the tenants are actually different, so that we don't have to put every tenant on every project. It's a security measure. We deploy daily, but we can deploy within half an hour from commit to deploy if we have hot fixes. But usually we deploy every day, even on Fridays, yes. We can set up a new tenant in 5 minutes. Which is really fantastic. So sales is now really scaling up. Like I just said, within like 2.5 years, we went from 50 to 100 tenants, and we want to keep that or even accelerate the growth. So ID needed to make sure that dev and ops is not the bottleneck to us scaling. It also allows sales to offer pilots to prospective customers where they can really try the application before they buy, so that we can demonstrate the value. And again, ops is not at all a bottleneck. It's actually sort of fun to add a tenant, assign it to one of the projects, deploy it, and they're live. Then when we do need to, so we have about 25 tenants per project. So when we grow in bigger chunks, we need to set up a new project, which takes us half an hour. So we can scale really, really well. Obviously, thanks to Platform.sh, all the infrastructure like PHP version, web server configuration, all that stuff is all the same across the projects, where previously we had sort of a mix between automated deploys and manual deploys. Some customers didn't want to the new version on Monday because of, I don't know, they had an audit or whatever. So we had actually to make appointments with every customer if we could please update the version. So no more. Now we're just forcing it through. And fortunately, thanks to our ability to test updates, even including migrations, on every single tenant before we go live, we have very, very high confidence that what we are shipping will work. So yes, even on Friday. Another thing that's also interesting is that our customer base, hope they're not listening, but they're not super IT mature most of the time, these factories. But some of them are, and they had some tricky questions like, if you deploy every day, is it going to break our ERP integration, which then can really shut down their production process? And our inability to offer a proper staging environment and to guarantee them that what you're testing and staging is exactly the same as what will be in production led to some nasty questions, and rightfully so. And now we can very easily parry those questions by saying, yes, we have a perfect staging environment. For me as a lead developer, it also really helps me focus on the application, which is our unique selling point, instead of worrying about operations. So I can even, and I did delegate the setting up of new tenants and making other changes, which frees up my time to worry about architecture or R&D. Like, oh, let's see if whether Elasticsearch provides better matching compared to MySQL's ESOM full text, for example. So we can very easily spin this stuff up, see if it works, and do R&D that way. It also liberates our developers. So even I want to say, even our front-end developer who does not do ops, she barely knows SQL, she can still branch off production, deploy her feature branch, and then share that environment with CSM, Customer Success Management, to validate whether the feature works, to product management, who can then even like give a sneak peek demo to some customers to see that this is what we're working on, all without involvement from actual ops. Also interesting maybe, so our dev team is just 5 people, and I consciously made the decision when looking for Platform.sh basically, or something like it, I do not want to insource ops. That's not what we should focus on. We should focus on our app. It's also really nice not to get woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning to fix ops stuff. Still happens, but only rarely so.
Yeah, waking up 3 a.m. in the morning, it's becoming more and more common, actually, as we inherit more projects. The developer team might be quite small, but what ends up happening is because we inherit legacy, there's more and more those 4 a.m. calls from Uptime Robot or something like going, your website is down, and you have to go and check it. So the mental health of developers is starting to get a little bit worse because they're handling multiple projects that require additional attention, additional work, right? So one of kind of my responsibilities is making sure that this is handled, and I think the secret and the key is to centralize ops, and instead of managing multiple different technology setups, you centralize into one. Good thing about Platform.sh is that the government, especially in the government space, they don't trust immediately Platform.sh. So they want to have their DevOps in Asia because they trust Microsoft more. And then with the Platform.sh CLI, we can say, yes, we can actually build a custom pipeline in Azure DevOps. We can have your Git somewhere else. And then you can have your Microsoft security there. And then we can deploy using custom pipelines. After a little while, we can deprecate that and use the native pipelines. After a little while, we can move the Git. And then you can convince the technology people that the code and database can be in the same environment and in the same branch, like what Platform.sh is doing, which is, I think, a much safer way of branching off. Then you can actually branch off the environment. So less and less trying to managing that developer fatigue and keeping a good culture is really important. And I think, yeah, we've been able to continuously trying to improve that. Yeah,
another thing you talked about yesterday was this need for better security, processes, and how has moving to a FleetOps way helped with that?
Yeah, that's a very good point. A lot of the stuff traditionally, especially again in the government space, is self-hosted because of the compliance and data regulations. So what ends up doing is a lot of our developers are spending time scanning for cybersecurity, scanning for vulnerabilities, looking at updating PHP packages, and then we have to spend a lot of time going, oh, why is this running out of memory? How do we, like we talked about SSHing into production and commenting code in production. And that is an old school way of fixing things. Oh, this function is a little bit consuming too much memory. Let me just comment it out, right? And actually, Platform.sh is out of the box, provides the best approach to best practice to development, right? So you can't SSH to prod. You have to branch off the prod, branch into prod, which is great. So instead of, and I was just saying to Jess too yesterday, you have a choice. You can, as a senior developer, you can spend time working on operations, working on pipelines, working on why something is broken, why something is consuming too much memory, or you can use that time growing junior resources, jumping into a meeting to help provide technical lift-up or technical assistance, and which will result to winning more work. Maybe have another meeting with the client to reassure them that everything is good, and then their experience with your agency with you will be better. Yeah, you can talk to your boss about promotion, something like that. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Pierre?
The way we are using Platform.sh is very efficient, and we save a lot of time because it's very quick to implement. And the developer, after 1, 2, 3 hours, one day, if we have to contract something, can work to develop on put it in production on his own. So this DevOps reality is very nice for us to have this kind of service. Mm-hmm. So as I am in an ops, I have all the legacy to take care. Mm-hmm. with the thousands of applications that are on the way to be on this DevOps. But with Platform.sh, we have this ready and that's it was at the beginning an experiment to see what using a PaaS system is, and now it's something very easy to use, and we are trying to do this kind of things with our legacy, and we are managing to do it with many efforts. Mm-hmm. But with this solution, it is you have the keys, and it's okay. You can multiply the response of the request we have for websites, and yes, we have to take care of the APIs integration, because with the legacy system, we have to make sure that all the release coming in production are still running and giving the service up. But we are trying now to mix Platform.sh website with our legacy, but we are establishing the rules to make sure that this will be with a high security level, and responding to the SLA on running effectively.
Yeah, and we talked about yesterday about how this is kind of an empowerment tool for developers, right? To giving them guardrails, but still putting a lot of the...
Yes, it gives them the responsibility to the run. Because if you put a release at 3 o'clock at night, it has to work, even though there will be a problem on the morning. So I'm used to say, Platform.sh, if you put in production a bad release, you will have 2 or 3 days. We will multiply the power of the infrastructure. Then you have to fix your bug, because we're gonna go back on the power. In reality, it does not. It did not happen already. Because the developers are a bit scared to do this as much as they can. But it's the fleet ops solution that is offered now. And again, I repeat it, but the test is very important because as an ops, what I want is my clients to be satisfied and not to be disturbed by a bug, by discovering something wrong in the service. Mm-hmm. So this is the responsibility of the developers that we are giving them as an ops. Because, but it's the way the IT I'm watching for years now. All is in automation. All is in accelerating the time to market. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we have all these older use case and way to work that is implementing all the way. We have all of process. I started with ETL processing in production, and with DevOps you say, okay, what is a change, what is an incident? This is changing our minds, but at the same time we need to mix all this to have the best SLA and the best for the clients. So,
right.
That's the only meaning we have.
Yeah, having quality code to keep your customers happy is what we're all trying to accomplish. So I think that's a great transition point. So let's end with advice, right? This transition to this new way of doing things and operating your web applications isn't easy, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of mind shift and a cultural change that needs to be implemented. So what advice would you give folks that are maybe doing things a little bit more manually today? What would you say to them that they should think about while they're thinking about this transition?
Yeah, so we recently in my team discovered the book Accelerate by Forsgren, Kim and Humble. You read it as well, right? And it's based on research, like thousands of participants, companies, and it shows empirically that continuous deployment and software delivery performance impacts the business, the organizational performance in market share, profit revenue, user satisfaction, and developer happiness as well. So DevOps isn't just for us developers, it's better for the whole business. Also very interesting, they say you shouldn't look at it as a maturity level, but instead you need to develop individual capabilities, and I think the book lists like 24 capabilities. So you can make your own roadmap, similar to maybe security. I don't know if you saw yesterday's talk about the security in this same room, but you have these 24 capabilities, just work on one at a time. Currently we are trying to do more trunk-based development, so no more branching off, using feature flags, for example. And that is starting to pay off. So that would be my first recommendation. Read the book and take that to develop your own roadmap. And then the second one is, since we are here at Symfony, when you start a new PHP application, a custom one, you'd be out of your mind to start bare bones. Of course, you use a framework like Symfony. Consider Platform.sh your ops framework, where all the best practices are already encoded. You are forced to do stuff the right way, and you can just kind of start at 5 instead of 0 and work your way towards 10.
Yeah, thank you. The advice from me would be, well, I guess the biggest change, the biggest complexity is people, always. And what I found in my career as the decision makers, the people who make the decision, the people who sign the check are the people who are a little bit older generation. They might be used to some old school methods. They might be threatened by technology because technology is threatening. It develops so quickly, right? So a lot of the time, I hear whispers of people saying, if this is automated, will I lose my job? I am maintaining on-prem servers. If this is going to the cloud, what will I be maintaining exactly? So that is one of the biggest challenges. So what I found is, like I schedule meetings, no obligation demo, and say, hey, you can spin up a sandbox environment in 5 minutes. Platform.sh, log in, click it, it's done. And then you can just show them, like, look, see, this is your production. You can create a staging in 1 second Well, it takes 5 minutes to create an environment replica, and then just show them how much time that could save them. A lot of the time, especially because of that, this has been my biggest problem. People don't want to change because they're afraid of the job security. So I keep showing them what their new job could look like. Much more easier. And
much more fun.
Much more fun. And you don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. Yesterday I was looking at the dashboard. We migrated 29 apps to Platform.sh, and 0 seconds downtime in the last 1 year. Very cool, because before, every 2 or 3 days, 2 a.m., there would be like a small outage. So I'm very happy, and yeah.
That's great, thank you.
My advice will be to define the use case that you can use Platform.sh. Then when you have choose this use case, just try it, because there is a high level of security and SLA, and you will have no more ops problem. Yes, it is true. So just try it. You will save time and save money, probably.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. I think that kind of gives us a little bit of time of Q&A. If anybody has any questions in the audience, we can go ahead and try to get those answered. Any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming by. And oh, I'm sorry. Was there a question?
Danish? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so you were saying that you had sites go down every 2 days. I am very curious what you were hosting with. Was it Acquia, Pantheon? Just curious.
Oh.
I'll get shot if I reveal the name, but you're right. Yes, so it's very interesting because that particular service provider, which is a competitor to Platform.sh, is actually has their own dashboard. You log in, 100% uptime. You set up your own uptime monitoring tools every couple of days, 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 3 minutes here, 2 minutes there. It's up to a lot of outages. So, but they wake up developers, you see. So when my team wakes up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you have multiple projects that they'll maintain, right? So you can have like 10, 15 projects. You get waken up a lot. Sometimes you get waken up by multiple instances of failure because of a shared cluster, and it affects the well-being of the devs. So, yeah.
Thank you for the question. All right. Well, thank you again for coming by and listening to the talk. I hope it was informative. And if you have any more questions, we're going to be at the booth, at the Platform.sh booth, so you can come by and chat a bit. Thank you.